Yeah, sounds good. Intentions, distractions, the classic. Okay, I have no intentions for this call. I'm just here to watch and see how things are going, and I'm very excited to see this working group push forward. And I guess I do have like expectations on this working group, so my intention for this call is to make sure those expectations are met. No, and I'm not distracted by anything. I'll pass it to Jess.
Good morning, everybody, and happy to see this also this working group taking kind of its second iteration as we get closer to the hatch. My intention is to listen, and I feel very good that Craig is guiding us, and we'll be working really close together as I am stewarding communications. We're going to be doing a lot of work together, and I'm super excited that Eduardo is here. And I can't wait to connect and chat a bit and pick your brain, because I hear you have some rad experience and we're lucky to have you. So I will pass to you.
Hello, my name is Eduardo. Nice to meet you all. So my expectation and intention. My intention is to get around the idea about how the group works, and to basically be a little bit of a spectator in this call and ask some questions at the end regarding some of the information that you will talk about today. And then the distraction at the moment is probably my internet, but besides that, everything it seems fine. We'll pass to Jonas.
Hey. My intentions for this call is to get a clear picture on the working group in the second iteration and to really kick off the work. Distraction is internet as well. Don't be confused when I maybe drop off. It's a weird day today. And yeah, also I'm excited to hear more from Eduardo. I will pass to Olivia.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My intentions are to, get this working group moving forward. I feel like we had a little bit of waiting time in this transition, and I'm excited also that Craig decided to push forward and that we have some fresh perspectives, people here. Welcome, Eduardo. And my distractions is that I'm in a loud place, and I'm sorry about that.
Can you all hear me now? Yes. Okay, so apologies. I'm going to go because I don't know where we are in the roster, and I'll say people jump in and help me if I disappear. Clearly, my distraction is my internet connection. My intention, like many of the people I heard, is just really to wrap my brain around this working group and where we need to go and how I can most effectively sort of admin the group. Just a little background, I'm certainly not a subject matter expert, so I'm going to be relying on all of you to contribute there. And I know that everybody has been working sort of in this capacity on their own in the background in various ways. And so a lot of work has already been done by Jonas and the Academy part of this in the initial working group iteration. So that's really my intent, like everybody else's, to get this thing going and see how I can be most effective to organize everything. It looks like we had a couple new folks join, so I'll pass to Ruben. Just intentions, distractions.
Sorry, what are you talking about?
We're just doing an opening round of greetings, welcomes, and if you just want to give us your intentions and your distractions for the call.
My intentions and distractions. Wow. At the moment, my distractions right now are mainly outdoors. When it comes to the work that I am putting in various projects, doing some harvesting here in Italy, olives and chestnuts, and my intentions. My intentions for what exactly? Is it just in general, or is there a specific
Whatever you'd like.
target? Okay. My intentions of life in life is to live it day by day, not too much in the future, not too much in the past.
Awesome. Tamara, have you gone yet?
Hi there. Thanks for letting me join. I just actually saw it on the Telegram group, and I thought I would like to just listen and learn what the onboarding working group is doing. So my intention is to absorb the information that you share, and distraction-wise, I don't think I have any right now. I don't know who has gone and who hasn't gone. I'm not sure who to pass it to.
Yeah, I got it. It's hard at the end. Sean, YGG.
Thanks.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Griff. My intentions are to be here. This is my first onboarding working group call, so I'm happy to just kind of see what the flow is like. And then I'm getting involved as well with this idea of putting on lab sessions. So like sort of like weekly 30-minute tutorials on using some of the tools and procedures that we're putting together. So I'm happy to jump into that discussion if it comes up. And distractions, I've got a big distraction in my life. I'm collaborating with an artist here, and so she starts playing the ukulele when I'm on calls sometimes. And but yeah, overall, it's definitely for the best. And yeah, happy to be here. So has everyone gone, or?
I can take it.
Oh, thanks.
For distractions, right now I don't have any. And for my intentions, I think it's like more calls you are, more knowledge you can have. That we were talking that with YGG yesterday, and that's awesome. And I also would like to onboard when I have more knowledge. I would like to onboard people. I think that's a very you feel very good when you onboard other people and you knew a lot of people, and I think that's awesome. And I'll pass it to Santi.
Intentions, this is my first working group session on onboarding, so I just wanted to touch base and see how things are going on this area. And distractions besides internet, I don't have too many distractions today. And I think that's all of us, so I'll pass it to Craig.
Thanks, Santi. Okay, so I did slap together a back of the envelope agenda, and however, in hopes of staying connected with everybody, I just shut down all my other windows. I'm not accessing any of those documents right now, and it seems to be okay. So I'm just going to go with this approach for now. I'm not going to be sharing screens, but I will just sort of talk about, I'll start off with sort of the status of what I've done most recently, just to sort of get everything running and pick up where Jonas and all of those folks left off prior to me. Excuse me. Like all of the working groups, I've just been trying to mirror kind of what they've been doing. So we have, we have a weekly agenda with notes, Manifesto, and all of these I'll link out to you guys in the chat when I get a second. We have, probably most importantly, a GitHub project board like all the others. And that's where we're trying to really collate issues and work on things together. What else am I missing? There is a ton of previous work was done by Jonas and the Token Engineering Academy, kind of in a different capacity, documenting stakeholder values and flows and all kinds of really amazing things. This working group, at least my sense of it, is more about moving forward from there, taking the work they've done, but also I think potentially continuing the interviewing process that they've done. Yes, Jonas says yes. That's awesome. And then, but really, you know, the hatch is upcoming. The clock is ticking. And so we need to step up our efforts in developing an onboarding structure. Both, I think, I mean, primarily the focus of this group is for individual stakeholders that are ready to contribute to the hatch. But at the same time, right, I mean, we also have organizational partnerships and the DAO to DAO type of partnerships. And so they're not mutually exclusive. And so it's probably a good idea for us to also be working in those sort of fields as well. And I imagine, and I'm hoping we can maybe hear from some folks who have actually specific you know, people that they're already working with, so that we can all sort of get a better idea of the types of individuals and organizations that we're targeting. Let me stop and think a moment. Any questions real quick right there? I just have a couple more minutes of spiel and then we'll sort of get other people talking. The manifesto is, I've only spent a little bit of time in it, and all these documents are, you know, will be open to people to contribute, including the meeting notes, if you happen to have those open. So in the manifesto, there's like a kind of a roadmap section, and there's a lot of bullet points in there. And where I'm at in that document is trying to convert those sort of roadmap pieces into GitHub issues that we can put on the project board so that if people are interested in taking a nibble, they can get in there and have a look. However, I know that a lot of work has been done on different levels and a lot of different thought has been put into these things already by different folks. So I thought maybe I'd stop there and say, Livy, Griff, Jess, Jonas, all of you who have been involved in the onboarding process in the prior iteration of the working group, if you'd like to maybe just give us a brief, you know, thumbnail of what your, you know, quick vision is, or really the most concrete steps about how this group moves forward in onboarding folks. And whoever feels like they want to speak can go first.
I think moving forward, the two things that seem short-term super important is to figure out how to onboard, what's going to be the process for onboarding people to kind of standardize that, and what are the criteria for onboarding people, and then to actually onboard to make it pretty practical moving forward. And I think we already have, I don't know if this was actually created, a list of all the people that were already in consideration or seemed interested, so that when we have these processes, we can just start to reach out. That's what I see as the main things moving forward.
Yeah, and I guess I'll jump in and just say, yeah, I appreciate the research that Jonas and Eve. Oh, sorry. There's a delay. You go, Livy.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? And sorry to interrupt, Jess, but process is what I'm really sort of lacking in my own understanding, and I don't know that there, and I have sort of started a tracking spreadsheet that I've shared with certain individuals, and that's where I'm going to collate things, but I've looked at your stuff, Jonas, as well, and I'm certainly aware of all the interviews you guys conducted, but I haven't moved any of that information into that tracking sheet. But I think the bigger question that Jess was probably going to speak to is the process. So I'll stop. Thanks.
That's okay. I was just going to say, yeah, it sounds like we just need to start by integrating what Jonas and the T Academy team has done with whatever you started, Craig. And then, yeah, I mean, ideally, we can have something that is somewhat automated rather than heavy manual. I mean, there's pieces and parts. I guess we just need to start breaking down, integrating, yeah, iteration 1 and iteration 2, and then figuring out what are the materials and what do we want the experience for people to be as some first points.
Livia, you were going to say something? And she's gone. Oh, Livia? Okay, I'm just going to jump in and say there are some the nice thing about the onboarding working group is there's a really clear like guideline, or there's like really obvious requirements. We need to recruit hatchers and we need to recruit projects. Now there's 10 million ways to go there. So we could, I would just say that at this stage it's the planning stage. We don't have to start onboarding anybody right now. We don't even have a clear guideline of what hatchers need to be required. The legal group is a big blocker there. I think it is easier to onboard projects. There's more information on that route, but I just hope that this group can kind of stay in the concrete land of, oh, we need humans to do this, and there are 2 things that this group needs humans to do. That's to make proposals to the forum and to buy into the hatch. So, making some metrics there for success, and then making a plan on how to execute both those strategies, and then executing it. Yeah, Eduardo?
Quick questions. When there is in the manifesto, there is a roadmap kind of guide. And for example, the first bullet point, which is the library of documentation. So the inhuman part is really important. What you just said, Griff. But do we have the content to provide for these people, or organization-wise, or do we have that library or documents to provide? That's my question.
Part of it, yeah. I mean, the basic overall mission, vision, this kind of stuff we have. What we are lacking, and one of the blockers right now, is we are waiting on legal to tell us and also to decide how the C-Stack token will in. That's a bit of a blocker, like whether or not we are requiring C-Stack tokens to buy into the hatch. And Griff, feel free to speak to this because you always have a better summary than me. But legal is somewhat of a thing that we're waiting on before we can really go into the fine details and release materials about how the hatch is going to go down. For me, that's, I think, the biggest block to producing that. We can do like quickly, we spun up, Santi and I, to the conviction voting test, we can spin up like videos, walkthroughs, this kind of stuff, but it's more like, for me, that, you need X to do Y. We're still kind of waiting on the final answers. And some of that has to go through the community process of, proposing it to the community and getting some feedback. Did you want to shade that in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we will require C-Stack tokens for hatchers, but in the end, that's a blocker for the hatchers, not necessarily a blocker for the projects. And since there's two things to go for, we can always start with the projects. And I think it's going to take, I think we should expect like 3 weeks before that blocker is unblocked, because while it's likely, legal's still in the research phase. So.
Can the approach be done to the projects without the legal unblocking, or okay?
Yeah, I think there's a lot already that people can understand. Like there's everything that is happening with the TEC. What are we doing? What is the mission? What is the purpose? That it's already like an entrance, and then this can be a hook for people when they're interested about this part. Then the blockers or the legal part, these are just like very small information that can come after, I think.
And onboarding projects will help onboard hatchers. You know, we were targeting people who actually care about token engineering, not and advancing the field. We're not targeting investors who want to make money. That's not really the goal of this project. The goal of this project is to support public goods in the token engineering space. So to make that concrete, having a bunch of proposals on the forum that say, hey, these are things that we want to fund with, you know, this token engineering commons, will make that really obvious what we're trying to do, and should attract the hatchers that we want, should help us attract the hatchers that we want.
I think a big push is going to come when we have the second test hatch. Then we can go out to many of the people in our community who we've not activated and engaged with, like people who are really busy, like Trent of Ocean Protocol, or Simon DLR, or you know, Z, and getting these people kind of closer in. But I think as far as the project submitting proposals, that we can definitely start on, and we kind of already have, because we are allowing in our weekly meetings, like kind of an elevator pitch from different projects. And I think that's going to be actually a very big part for onboarding, is to give them the platform. Because we have how many meetings till the hatch? So we could for sure get at least 10 to 15 projects to present to the community. So that could be one key that's already there.
Sorry, when you mean 15 projects, you mean 15 organizations, or is that different concept? Or it's the same?
I mean, can be proposals, like different groups who would be submitting proposals to request funds. And I'm just saying 15 because how many weeks do we have? Or maybe, what is it, eight weeks of meetings until the hatch. So we could, you know, ramp up that effort a bit. I mean, we're starting with our closest ones, like TE Academy and the TE book, and then we can go and start, you know, getting some other people to jump in.
This is a silly question. Sorry. No, this is a silly question, but I need clarification on this. So, as an organization counts as a hatcher, or it's a separate thing?
So hatchers are people with C-Stack tokens, or people who we have approved. And generally, they're probably going to be people, just because it's complicated to work with organizations. We'll see. Maybe it hits the scope, but whatever. It's a lot easier just to say, oh, there's this human, you know. So humans will be hatchers, and they will put money into the hatch. And then people who are proposing, builders, we could call them, or TE workers, people who want to make public goods in the token engineering space, like Shebnem, who has the token engineering book, Angela, who's doing the token engineering academy, Zargum and Block Science, who have probably a bunch of models that they could open source or work with projects to open source. Trent, who has a simulation tool that he wants to open source. You know, they could all of these groups can make multiple proposals saying, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. This is how the proposal will go. And then we like give us money. The thing for that side is, well, what does a standard proposal look like? Right? Like, we can't just say, hey guys, request money. We got to give them some sort of template that says, hey, these are our expectations. We need to make a plan for what our expectations actually are. I have a dream of all the money going into a Gnosis safe, and then having like reviewers there, and maybe this Gnosis safe, for the money to come out, it always goes to the bonding curve first, and everyone gets paid out in TEC tokens, right? We can make complicated requirements like that. We don't have to though. And so we have to make these decisions on what our expectations are for people who want to propose for money from the TEC. We have to, and then like make a plan for that, and then actually start recruiting them. We can also start recruiting them with just the idea right now, and like we are already doing, and having them make a proposal or kind of talk about their project every Thursday. I think we have Shebnem talking this Thursday, right? Did anyone ask her for that?
No, but I can.
Okay, that's great.
I'll do that right now before I forget. And also the other aspect is, shoot, I just lost it. Oh, no. Okay, I lost it. It'll come back.
I have a question just regarding what just Griff said. You have a YouTube video that I saw, Jessica, about creating a proposal on the forum and how it should be done and all this stuff. Is there a way to create a similar content for when we are onboarding people?
Yeah, definitely. It's super easy. It took me like an hour. That's not a problem. The other thing I was going to say was Zeptimus actually brought up a really fantastic point yesterday in the comms meeting. Maybe the next piece of content that I need to develop is what kinds of projects and proposals that we would like to submit, because I don't think that's included in our documentation anywhere. And I think that's I'm realizing that is like a missing link, and that will also help to guide in this process as well. So I'm making a note that that's like high priority, but I might need help developing that. And maybe even we take some time in the weekly sync call, and like I thought we could do it kind of in a fun way, like projects do's and don'ts, or like projects we want, projects we wouldn't want, and do some funny ones, make it a little playful. We could talk about it in the meeting a little bit maybe. So I can just start a document, and if async, people just throw in some ideas. And maybe even we want like real projects from our community or suggestions, and we could just filter a few. Like people can just post their thoughts on what projects they might like to see supported, and we could say like, yes, this would fit, or no, this wouldn't, and just give some examples. Could be really helpful. Is it helpful if people share a bit about like maybe just to get a fresh pair of eyes, or like take off our TEC hat and just think about like when we join a community and there's a token, and what kind of experience do we want people to have? Because I think this is really important and makes a huge difference. How would you like to be approached in this process? Or maybe we can just have some sharing about this. Could be helpful to start to get the juices flowing.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Yeah, go.
Okay. I think the biggest amount of clarity, it would be the best. Like if someone approached me with, hey, this is exactly what we're doing, and this is how I want you to jump in, and this is what it would take for you to come in, and this is what we can offer. So I think a very clear set of expectations.
So just to reflect off that, you're basically saying like, don't make people think too hard, like make it easy for them kind of as well.
Yeah, make it easy and no information between the lines, Sometimes I see there's like the fear of communicating certain things, but to be just very straightforward. I pass to you, Eduardo.
Yeah, is there any way to sort of make lab like this is a term, the term isn't the correct, but like a small pre sort of understanding of the community and what are their needs in order for us to then sort of understand more, like the not the audience, because it's not an audience, but you, and I don't know if I'm being clear about it, but to just make a small encuesta, how do you say encuesta in English? Like our small research regarding the people of the community, a survey, exactly, about needs of the projects or needs of the hatchers, in order for that clarity that Livy mentioned could be easier and could be more to the point, rather than confusing documents or confusing content that they are not actually appealing to them. Just as an idea.
You mean like, for example, using the research, like that Jonas kind of went through this process, and maybe it's helpful, Jonas, if you could also like summarize for the people who may not be as familiar. And since we're meeting in this context, it might be a little, but you're saying kind of like customizing the message rather than just doing like generic that may not fit to people.
Exactly. Like, I think we can actually infer some people of the community, organizations that we already have some certainty of what they are doing, and to create a sort of not a personalized, but more of a specific targeting. And then we can create another one that is more generalized for many possibilities that we are not considering, but they could be existing. So in that way, we can have two kind of control groups, and we can also measure some of the outcomes and involvement, and what failed, what didn't fail, etc.
I think on that point, sorry, Jonas, I think on that point, we should use the spreadsheet that Craig started. And maybe Craig, if you could post that spreadsheet in the GitHub issue, so we can track who are the people, who talked to them, and some notes on each person, so we can have a more like specific approach, like Eduardo is saying.
And is some of that information private, or do we want to do permissioned access just as a note?
Can you hear me? It's currently private, but we can, we can change that. I can change that. Yeah, I can put it.
But I'm saying, do we want to keep it private and just do invite for a P working group? I just don't know how sensitive the information is, so.
The main sensitive information is, like, even though people said that their addresses are public, it's okay for them to be public and stuff like that. It's really preferred not to be connecting addresses to names, because it's like people's bank accounts and how much money they have. So I always try to go the extra mile on hiding the connections between addresses and people. So if we scrub from addresses, or, I don't think there's a problem with saying, oh, this person said they want the TEC to do this. Let's just keep addresses off any kind of public documents.
Sorry, Jonas, you were gonna say something or share a little bit about the research?
The stakeholder research, we mostly interviewed core contributors to the TEC build. So people who are already into working in these working groups. And partly we also reached out to outside organizations. And so a lot of what we asked was like, what are the expectations of people for the TEC? What do they find valuable about the token engineering community, to get like a general feel? What is the intentions of people participating in the TEC that are already kind of there? And further reaching out, we haven't reached out to onboard people that are not familiar with the TEC, or interview them. And I think what I found in the process is that it seems to me, maybe I just haven't found it yet. It seems to me difficult to find a good pooling resource of all the information people would need. And I think that would be super valuable, because we have these good articles of a general overview, but like concrete things, if people are interested, how they get started, And I think new people that come here maybe experience that because it gets so complex with the working groups. I think it would be super nice to have like a general small onboarding guide for those people that are interested. Continuing these interviews, I think, would be super important, and not only talking to obviously people that are on the inside, but people that are more on the outside.
Can I suggest we sort of make a mock-up run through, like the process, like a normal process of onboarding someone, so we can detect probably what things are missing, so we can sort of start targeting what things are required, and sort of understanding what part of the road needs to be paved or improved. I don't know if that has been done before, but so also in a way that if not one person is onboarding, but other people are also part of the process, they can all sort of give the same explanations or this alignment in the sort of onboarding process. So we don't provide different information to different people, even if we are different people who are interviewing them.
You're saying, and this came up as well in the comms yesterday, like mapping the journey from A to Z, like how we want the people to go. And also from what we had discussed this, and that's what I was going to contact you, Eduardo, about, is Manu, one of our contributors, had us go through the story canvas process. And the next part, and what we'll be doing next Tuesday in the comms meeting, is mapping the journey. But that's from an information flow perspective and the web of information. But we also need to map the journey from like first contact to hatch, and map it, like you said, which is incredible insight, is map for like the community members we know, to which we can do like very nice customized, like, hey, we know you, we know your projects, we know why you're here. We can communicate in a certain way and bring them through the journey. And then we can map a more kind of generic journey of like first discovery for people who may be coming in with different information levels. So I think that's a fantastic way to approach it.
I think also there's different journeys for different types of roles and participants. Like maybe people that are contributing in the working groups have one type of journey, and people that are stakeholders and just want to pay attention from an outside have another type of journey, and developers have another. So start to craft also these different routes.
That's good. Thanks, Libby. Hey, Jess, are you saying that you think crafting that journey could happen simultaneously in your information story canvas? Like, so this piece of it, they could go hand in hand and it wouldn't be a separate effort somewhat?
Yeah, I think doing both at the same time will be more integrated. And also, I should mention that Livy, we have a contributor that is also working on, I think it was Tom, that was going to update our onboarding. Santi did an amazing job with starting like our wiki Notion, but we have a lot to update. And so we were going to, and then we have the website launching. So yes, this goes hand in hand for sure. And we need, this is like the next step for communications in the higher level, like strategy and onboarding together. So yeah, if you're cool to do that in the comms meeting next week, it will be kind of like, we could call it onboarding comms joint working group session.
Eduardo,
Is it Tuesday? Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, is that something you could join?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday at 6 p.m., right? I mean, Europe time.
Yes, exactly. And
Right.
yeah, there's other stuff going on in comms, but this is the most important thing. And I would rather spend time actually working and doing like hack session rather than talking about work. So super open to doing that. That was our plan for next week. So we'd love to have you there.
Can we do a pretty small session of like in between you and me or someone else, but like a small pre-work, so it can be adjusted on the meeting rather than constructed all of it on the meeting. Just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys want to go into it now, or Craig, what you're feeling like for the last 15 minutes of the meeting, or if we want to just go through. I've been taking a bunch of notes, so I don't know if we want to pull action items out of that notes. And then, yeah, Eduardo, we could set up another like 30-minute session or something before the Tuesday.
Sorry, go ahead.
I would just like to join too.
And I want to say that before we start doing comms, we should have a plan, and that plan be like understood, like the directions, like the next steps after the first step. This is we kind of have a plan in the manifesto, but I don't know that it's like fully agreed on or really been dove deep into. And it's worth it to put in the time and get everyone aligned on a plan that ends with a specific result, and then flesh it out and then start executing. So like,
yeah, we need
maybe
like a roadmap.
a week. Yeah,
we need a roadmap, and then we need to map the journey, and we need a roadmap before we can start. Yeah, like breaking it up to smaller tasks. Totally agree with you, Griff.
Yeah, I think the roadmap will, or the journey, as Jessica called it, will sort of serve us to understand the beginning point and the end point, so we can sort of also adjust what is the strategy in the mid and short term, because it will give us an idea of the flaws and sort of how realistic it could be at certain points. So I think in my case, I will do the journey first before doing the strategy, so it can be a little more realistic.
That's awesome. It's my job to shepherd the plan. I get that, and with everyone working hard on it, then I think we're going to be heading down the right track. In the meantime, though, there's certainly smaller things that people can continue to do. That's making relationships, educating people, and question to you, or maybe so currently, hypothetically, we have a pool of 300 or 400 C-stack holders that are potential catchers at a very base level.
We also have, there's like some 700 people in the Common Stack Telegram. So I guess we should mention that. We've talked about it a little bit, but also need to, and maybe we can do part of this in mapping the different journeys for the different stakeholders and whatnot. I am working on an article right now from the Common Stack on the TEC to send and engage more like with the Common Stack community, because we haven't really done a full push or campaign to activate them, and they are very, very like aligned, interested, and I think many of them will be willing to participate. So I'd expand that to even like 700 people. So I guess that goes along with like specific TEC journey, and then we could have like a Common Stack and figure out what else can we do to engage with that community and understanding the different people inside.
Agree.
Yeah, that's helpful. It's like clearly we've been directing our communications and interactions with that core group of people from the beginning, and we will continue to. But I think it's clear that reach outside while continuing to reach inside type of effort here. So we have 10 minutes left. Jess, I thank you for taking notes. I've been trying to take some notes, but if you wouldn't mind carving out a few to-do items, and I'll see if mine matches, and and then we can close out and carry on.
Another thing, Jonas, it would be helpful if you had any materials on what people's responses were for what kind of projects they want to fund and what kind of projects they don't want to fund. If you wouldn't mind sending me that document and point me to where that lives, and then I can use that to this content or flesh it out a bit.
Yeah, we have a whole folder with video data and scripts. I can also just, if we put this in GitHub, kind of break it down and insert it there so we all have it in the same place.
Cool, that sounds good. I'll start a GitHub issue and send it to you, and then if you put, I'll start a doc and put it in there, and then whatever answers you can, it'll probably be faster if you are willing to pull out the gold, and then I'll go in and build it into something.
Also, Jonas, can you share the video that you guys presented in the academy?
Yeah, it is in the same, we have a whole G Drive folder. Let me just share that. It is in there.
Would anybody else like to be part of the work? Obviously, there's the comms meeting next week, but does anybody else want to be invited or part of the pre-work session that Eduardo, Olivia, and I will be doing on the user on the journeys? It's okay to say no. Just wanted to open it.
Yeah, Jess, I'll join that one.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so for starters, we have the new onboarding guide update, which Tom is working on with Livia. Content on what kinds of proposals and projects we would like to fund. That would be myself and Jonas, and then starting to map out the journeys ahead of the meeting next Tuesday. Eduardo, Livia, myself, and Sean. Any other burning action items you see out of what we've discussed so far, and starting to flesh out recruiting hatchers and getting projects to submit proposals? Oh, and Craig, can I put you down for integrating Jonas's documentation and your tracking sheet to start to work on that?
I also would like to sort of work around the library of documentation, because I feel we have, like, for example, the Google Drive that Jonas just mentioned. There's a lot of information that is just like spread around. So it will be interesting to first have that organized also in order for everyone, including ourselves, to have all the information that it's available for us, and also easy to read for everyone else, so it works both ways. I don't know how you guys organized this concept of library of documentation, but in a wiki or something like that. But yeah, I don't know if it's already on process, but let me know.
Yeah, we have a wiki that needs to be updated. And now there are many documents floating around, but they're mostly all in the wiki.
And Craig, I don't know if your internet cut out. Are you good to start integrating the stakeholder research with your tracking document and making it one document going forward for all of the contacts we've had so far? And that also includes the trusted seed reach outs?
Yes, please say something. Yes.
Awesome, thanks. Any other action items that I didn't catch?
And I probably didn't catch what you just said. I have several for myself. It's more admin stuff, really, to set things up for people to get working. And I'll touch base with Jonas and, well, everyone. So let's see, we have 5 minutes left. Do we want to do a closing round, or does anybody have anything burning left that they want to discuss or ask?
I would just say also include Angela. One last action item. Try to get some feedback from Angela, because she's like a core piece of or subject matter expert for this group, I would say.
Absolutely. I've been in contact with her, and actually I think I sent her that tracking spreadsheet on the initial invite. And that's a to-do for me, as well as to expand the list of people that have access to that tracking spreadsheet.
Another action item too, to start tracking TE projects that we want to see as proposals.
And that's already a GitHub issue, right, Libby? You guys hear me? Okay.
I don't see in the issue, but I'll add there.
All right. Closing rounds. Anybody want to start off and tell us?
Sure.
I can start. Oh, nope, Jess, you got it.
I'd say, hey, we're walking into the unknown a bit. We're making up these things as we go along, and we're creating this together. I feel very good about this first meeting. I know sometimes it takes a bit to get our ground and see where we're at, but I feel like this is helpful to get all of the insights and get everybody's inputs so that we can start to walk in a good direction. And I will be following up with setting up this pre-session. And thank you so much, everybody, for all this feedback, because otherwise we'd kind of maybe be scratching our heads. But it's so helpful to hear from you guys and have your brains on this. It's fantastic. So I'll pass to Septimus.
I don't understood the question. What's the closing round? What I should talk about?
Closing round. Just say anything you want to share before we go.
Oh, I don't know what to say now, but I'm looking forward to this group, and yeah, maybe I can help in something. And I'll pass it to Livia.
Yeah, thanks for this call. It was very nice to see all of these ideas coming into action items and that we have a plan to move forward. Feels good. And I pass to YGG.
Yeah, I feel great about all this. It's nice to see the progress and read through the manifesto. I like the goals and the roadmap there. Actually, there's quite a few milestones laid out. So it's nice to see sort of the brainstorming happening. And I'm really excited to be a part of the user experience design brainstorming. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's so incredibly important because it's the way that it's our interface to the world and how people can come into the community, and it sets the first impression and the sort of intentions and the foundation of the relationships. So I think it's really exciting. And I'm going to pass it over to Tam.
Hey, so it's very informative call. My feeling is that with so many dedicated and really passionate people working on this, failure is not an option. And I kind of like that in the onboarding, failure is not identified because I think it really is not an option. And I think that I definitely look forward to seeing what this group produces and how you evolve and the success of the onboarding. And with that, I pass it to LKNGTN.
Hey guys, sorry, I just popped in. I have zero context, but I'm assuming that we're talking about the reflections on the meeting, and I see a bunch of people that I know are awesome here. So I have good vibes. I don't know who else hasn't gone, but if somebody could help pass it along, that would be great. Yeah, I can take it. Thanks, Luke, for joining in. Yeah, the closing round is tough when you just hop in, but yeah, great call, guys. Thanks for the brainstorming session. I think it was a good starter for this group, and it's easy. It's going to always be a little bit chaotic at first, but it looks like we have a really good core team of Eduardo, Septimus, Jonas, and Craig. and Sean, who are like, you know, Jess, Livia, and I were kind of like floating all over the place, and so is Craig too. But you guys are like that's a really strong core team. So I'm pretty excited to see how it evolves. I am pretty hopeful. We just got to get organized and put it together. So the path isn't clear, but the destination is. So it's really, we get to choose our own adventure here. Who else needs to go? Did Jonas go?
I didn't go yet. I'm super happy that we have a clear picture on how to move forward, and to really see this happening in concrete ways. Nothing more, nothing less. Maybe Eduardo, did you go yet?
No, I don't know. I'm quite interested on how this is gonna take form and shape. So I'm looking forward to keep seeing you guys. And if I remember a name, forgive me. Besides that, nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Eduardo. Maybe I'm last. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everybody for calling. And yeah, things are a lot more clear in my brain, which is helpful. Like Griff mentioned, and you may have sensed, it's a little hectic, and I appreciate everyone's input. And I think I have some clear signals on how to move forward, and let's get this group rolling. In the meantime, of course, you know, stay in touch on all the channels and feel free to reach out to me directly, and happy to bounce ideas and put people in contact with the right other people. And with that, I'll say thanks again, and we'll do this again next week, same time, Wednesday, 6 p.m. CET, and we'll talk soon. Everybody.